the first to connect via text, WhatsApp. Always double check on 07745 278 978. Please do your best to interact. Tonight we have the most amazing, young, vibrant energy that we're going to cover and have an intimate conversation with about her past and her journey further forward. If you'd like to call in and speak to her by any chance, do call on 01733 602 133. So, this evening we have an amazing guest. Once again, if this is everybody we bring to the table here on the Empower Hour with ourselves they're individuals who have touched humbly thousands of people's lives in some format and some way. So this is a young lady who has come from a background of being what we classify as one of three children in Kent in specific. And she has come from an academic family and actually has been completely forwarded and actually supported in her energetic, vibrant energy of changing the world through dance, through teaching, through education, of choreography, and really touching people through a psychological touch within her mind. This evening we have Harkiran Virdee. Harkiran, please welcome.
Hi, how are you?
What a lovely smile and lovely energy as always. You've put a smile on everybody's face without even seeing them, eh? Now, when you hear later on, the smile is so prevalent and so important to her life that we'll touch on that a little bit more detail. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
The number one show, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been told by Little Dickybird that this young lady has also now started being a presenter of her own.
Yes.
On Brit Asia TV. A very good friend of mine, Tony, and Gurjan's team. So, let's get on with the conversation. You're probably going to put me right, I'm sure, in how to actually communicate with you properly.
No, never.
So let's get straight to the point. There's a certain structure that we always deliver, and one of the key things is that our audience are very local and very international as well. We get listened to by people from all over the world. Don't let there be a stress, but all over the world, from all the peaks of what we can say Canada, all the through to Australia, India, and places of that sort of nature, Pakistan, and also, which I believe Africa is a mid-country as well. So feel very excited to get your word out to the best. It's an amazing evening. So how does a lady, a young girl, mid-20s, become such a global phenomenon? So, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about what your journey was like as a child in south of, in Kent.
So I grew up in quite a very active family. Mm-hmm. So I grew up with watching my dad. He serves the community, but he also worked his job was very demanding. He was a civil servant. Oh, wow. So I grew up with seeing my dad work not just Monday to Friday, but he would be in I'm from Gravesend in Kent.
Hey,
Gravesend.
A big shout out to Gravesend here. We have
so he would serve the community in Gravesend as well, at the temple, the Sikh Gurdwara, and with the Bhangra team and Asian Welfare Society. There was lots of things that he had his kind of hand in. My dancing actually comes from my mum. So my mum was part of a Gidda group.
Now, a Gidda group, for people who are non-English speaking, is basically a female dance group version of the Bhangra group. Yes. Yeah. So
it's a traditional folk dance, and it's for women. It's very powerful. They sing their own songs whilst they dance. And every song has a meaning behind, a story that maybe a daughter-in-law or a sister-in-law has been through, that sort of thing. It can be quite funny, it can be quite serious. So I grew up with watching my mum do that, and my dad was also the chairman of a Bhangra group. So
oh wow! Yeah. So that's quite an eclectic balance, isn't it?
And it's a very historical group. Very historical group. So
and which group was that then?
Jugnu Bhangra.
The Jugnu Bhangra group itself. Group. Wow! So your dad's name is?
Jagdev Virdee.
Oh wow! Yeah, amazing. So now we know Jagdev Virdee, who is was one of the chairmen of the Jugnu Bhangra group on the international stage. Yes.
So, Dad, we were always around it as kids, and my dad's friends, they were part of the group as well. And I had friends. My sister was also part of it. My older sister. Oh. So we all it was a very family. My parents' group of friends, we all used to be a part of it. So growing up around that. It was quite active. We used to go to all the events.
To say the least, active. I like
very
that.
Active, yeah. Just that was kind of my influence in terms of dance. But otherwise, at school, I loved sport, so I would play football. I played football for nearly 10 years.
Ladies football?
Yeah.
So was there a ladies football group? That's really
So
empowering.
I played mainly at school. So I started when I was in primary school, and that was mixed. It was mixed groups. So it was with boys as well. So I was one of the only girls, and I think there was only 2 of us actually that played, and we were both Indian, which was amazing. But then as I went to secondary school, I was the only Indian girl. I was referred to as Jasminda from Bend It Like Beckham. That was my nickname. And it still kind of is. When I see my English friends from school, I still kind of remember those memories. Yeah, it comes back. And even the dad looks like my dad and things like that. So yeah, but
so the reality is your name is Harkiran and not Jasminda.
No, it's not
just in case
Jasminda.
everybody's got the wrong
Yeah. But I actually related to that film a lot because when I was growing up, it wasn't normal for an Indian girl to play sport and be so active and dance. I used to go to gymnastics, football, brownies, anything, boffins club or just everything. I used to, and Punjabi school on the weekend, Gatka, which is the Sikh Martial Arts.
Wow.
Yeah, so I always kept really active in terms of sports, which was really fun.
So that's amazing. I mean, what an eclectic connection or collection of activities in your what we call social activity. So how were your parents with this? Because obviously you attended all these things, and that was with the blessings of your parents, right?
They encouraged me to do it a lot, and they wanted me to stick to find what I liked, what I loved, and then kind of go with that. Football was my main thing when I was younger, and dancing. Those were the 2 things that I kind of stuck to mostly. And then I stopped playing football when I turned about 17, just because of studies, and I knew I wasn't going to make, not in a negative way, but the level that I played at school level, I didn't play at a national county or national.
Yes,
I didn't play at any of that sort of level, so I knew I couldn't pursue it as a career at that age. I was already a bit too old, if you like, in terms of physicality and fitness and things like that.
So the reality of life, it was nothing to do with the fact that you couldn't, it's just the fact that you felt at that time of your life it was not the right thing to pursue.
Yeah, I felt like I'd played enough.
Got it.
I still watch football, and if I could have a kickabout, I definitely would go.
I'm not going to have a kickabout with you, because I'm not one of those footballers, I'm afraid.
So if I could, I do. There's a local team now that I will very occasionally, if I get time, I'll go and just join in on a training session.
Also, I remember a conversation we once had around the fact that you not only were a player, but you actually ended up becoming a coach as well. You helped people in the cricket arena and stuff as well.
So when I came out of university, I had done some qualifications in coaching children, and I love teaching children. It's one of my favourite things to do, in all aspects. It doesn't matter whether it's dance or sport or anything. And I started teaching with a company called the Shepway Sports Trust.
Shepway. So this is right near Dover, right?
In Kent, yeah. So it's in Kent. And yeah, they serve the community. They go into schools, they go into communities, and they go into community groups, youth groups, and even elderly groups and everything. So yeah, I started teaching cricket with them, and then I also did Bhangra. So I went into probably every school in the whole of that area, and taught those children Bhangra.
So did they actually have, this is really inspiring. So we're here all about the empowerment of human beings. This has nothing to do with any particular gender or that concept, just about the ignition of a human life to say, I can.
Yeah.
Now, when you're teaching young children, so you have to be a specific way, is that right? You can't just talk to them, can you? Say, here, this is how you dance.
Yeah. So the way I look at children are literally a sponge, and whatever you throw at them, they're going to take it in. And they could take it in a good way, they could take it in a bad way, or they could not care less and ignore you and not even hear what you had to say. So I've
experienced that one.
Yeah, so when I'm teaching kids, you have to look at yourself, and everything you say, everything you do, even your body language in front of them matters. Everything matters. So I was teaching children for a couple of years from age 2 up to 16 at Jugnu Bhangra, and I used to teach them in separate groups. So the 2 to 4 year olds, they were very young. It was
more of a play.
Yeah. It was really fun, but they still knew, like with them I was focusing more on coordination, lefts and rights, and okay, if I say put your hand up, that doesn't mean put it on the floor. So just grasping those things. So even like language,
that makes a lot of sense.
That came into it. And like learning about even like colours, so like I would show them like outfits and things like that, and yeah, just counting is a big thing at that age. So
Massively.
Dancing is, I mean, in dance we only count to 8, and in Bhangra we only count to 4. So
really,
yeah,
we'll talk a bit about that later.
Yeah,
but back to the children. Yeah,
with the children, it encouraging them at that small age to do those things. They're learning not just dance skills, they're learning life skills as well. And then the older groups, it was all about technique and also confidence in themselves. So yeah, it was that was what was really important to me, is making sure the kids that come to the group love what they do when they come to the group, but also love themselves.
Oh, so that's a really nice way of putting it. So have you found, I mean, your conversation around making people kind of internally happy and being aware of themselves, I mean, this is quite an enlightenment when you're thinking about, you're only in your mid-20s now. So how did you pick this up? Did you study that in university, or was it a family inspired sort of concept? What happened there?
So from being really young, my grandparents, my Thayaji, which is my dad's older brother, yes. My Thayaji and Thayaji, and my dad and my mum, they're all, and even my dad's best friends, and it's like Shami uncle, and just people that I've grown up with and I've had to look up to. I've had some of the biggest influences, not just for me. I was explaining earlier, I could walk down the road in Gravesend or go to the Gurdwara, the temple, or see somebody, and someone will know who I am because of who my parents are, and because of who my grandparents are, because of who my uncle is. And like my uncle has a very famous sweet shop called Virdee stores. It's been there for 50 years. It is like a,
even I know of that.
You know Virdee stores.
Even I know of that name.
That's our shop. Yeah. That's our family shop.
Oh,
so
wow.
That is like, if anybody knows Virdee stores, they know our family. So I've always thought I need to live up to that. Like, I want to.
Wow.
I've had those influences, and I've seen the things my family have done for people. There's no reason why I can't do it, and I enjoy it. So teaching people, I see, say like I attend like an event like Vaisakhi,
yes.
which is in April. So the Nagar Kirtan that you have, you'll see all the children, like, and their parents and their families. So kids that I used to teach, and all I hear from them is, Kiran, when are you going to come back? Please come back and teach us. And it breaks my heart, but I can't, like, at this point in my life, I can't do it at the moment. But having that impact on those children makes me feel like really good.
That is really wonderful.
I did what I was meant to do in that time that I was there.
On behalf of the children, I'd like to thank you. Thank you for being such a bright light for them all. The conversation that I heard there is that, did your language and this human body skill of being able to connect with human beings, this is about empowerment. When you speak to a child, you're most definitely empowering that child. So how did you understand human psychology to an extent? I mean, what influence was that in your life? I mean, you've got a beautiful upbringing, and you've been genuinely held accountable, a bit like what we call the observer effect in psychology and quantum physics, sorry. So the observation's been on you, and you've always felt yourself responsible for your own well-being, and if they can do it, why can't I? Yeah. But when it comes to understanding the human psychology, that's a very different journey. And how did you enhance that, and how did you sort of like capture that sort of logic? So from seeing my parents do the things that they have done, there was also my older sister. So my sister's 10 years older than me. I'm 26, she's 36. Wow. She's now a doctor in psychology. So it's something that she studied for a very, very long time. So when she started, I was really young. But her having that awareness trickled down to me. Got it. And then also with my mum worked in an elderly daycare centre, and she's very aware of, how to come across and how to understand people, and how your actions and your words can impact another person's mental health. But yeah, more so my sister, like,
she used to be revising, and I would be like, what does this word mean and what does that word mean, and test her, even though I have no idea what it means. I was a child.
Oh, how amazing.
But I knew who Freud was when I was like,
I was going to say, just that came off my head.
Like a 10-year-old. I was like, oh, Freud. I have no idea who he was then, but
you're learning it now, but you knew his concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
I knew he existed somewhere. So
this is very important. So when we understand the concept of human psychology, to me, my personal journey is that's the biggest ignition you could give somebody, for them to really truly understand themselves.
Yeah.
And this syncs beautifully with your making people smile. I think you said just a moment ago, you said you'd love to make them smile and feel happy.
Yeah.
But just before we go into the element of confidence, if you don't mind, I mean, you're going to enjoy this interview so quickly, it is going to be passed like that.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, just a little bit of framework, if you don't mind, around dancing, because you are a choreographer as well, and such a young, acclaimed choreographer. Goodness me, you're a global phenomenon. You've been around over the world. Tell me some countries.
So I've been to Poland.
Yes.
Bulgaria.
Wow.
France. I was going to say Barcelona. Spain.
Spain.
Been to Spain.
Well, Barcelona officially is kind of in its own little country area as well.
Yeah. So
but yeah, please to carry on.
Barcelona. Yes. Philippines. That was very recently, and
wow.
Marrakesh. And then in September I'm going to south of France. So yeah,
so you've literally covered virtually every continent besides obviously the Americas, which I'm sure looking to cut into.
Hopefully
these interviews are going to help you without a doubt. We're going to cut into that American market for you and North America's. But no, does that make sense? And you've also been known for being very well coordinated with Bhangra video movie, videos
artists
as well, but also artists and also live stage events. So what sort of stage events have you done?
So stage events, Britasia. So we've done the Britasia Music Awards.
Britasia, Tony, I've just given you a bit of a plug
Tony.
There, right?
Britasia Music Awards. We did the Punjabi Film Awards, which was also hosted by Britasia. BBC Asian Network Live. Performed at Wembley Arena for the Bhangra Showdown. Not in the competition, just with an artist.
A part of the show.
Part of the show,
yes.
yeah. I have opinions on competitions as well, but it's performance and competitions is two different things. So yeah, I was performing, and then Birmingham Arena, Royal Albert Hall with Stephen Wilson. Yeah, so. And then really local shows as well.
Were you at the last? And the local shows as well. But were you at the last? I think it was late last year. Were you at Were you in the British Awards?
Music Awards, yes.
Yes, yeah. I was there as well.
Yeah, so we opened the show. So I dance for a company called the Bollywood Company, based in central London. So we do everything. So you name it, we do it. We teach beginners. We teach courses. We teach Bollywood and Bhangra. We do commercial shows. The dancers are amazing. The management are amazing. So
wow,
yeah,
so
it's a great group.
That's a really lovely conversation there. So with parents and do you find that the parents actually? I mean, we're all parents right here, myself and many of our listeners tonight. But do you find that the parents themselves actually have an urge or a belief that their children should dance or shouldn't dance? Do you find any kind of friction sometimes?
So my parents encouraged me to do whatever I wanted when I was younger. So
they supported you.
Yeah, they were very supportive. And then now as I got older, there was a kind of a tipping point where they were like, okay, unless the dance is bringing you stability
in finances and
like generally in life, then unless it makes you happy and it makes you're in a stable position, we need to figure out other avenues. So then that's when I was very blessed to come across the group that I'm part of now, that I can actually do what I love and it brings me financial gain. Yeah, I can live off it.
It's amazing that you can put out stuff like this to the world, whether we call this law of attraction or really just basically just asking for it within a prayer. I mean, it just comes back to you because I'm a God believer as well, so we have this clear understanding of that. So that's so beautiful, the fact that you kind of accidentally articulated a career, a paying career in this as well. So that's beautiful. When you work with individuals, one of the key questions that comes into my brain is that how do you actually help them? Is it just about the physical benefits of health?
Do you mean like dancing, teaching dance,
teaching, that kind of thing, or do you actually work with their heads as well? You know, I mean, do you add something to their emotional life as well?
So when
do you think dance does that for them?
Massively. So dance is therapy for me, and
oh, well done.
And it's therapy for me. And sometimes when I'm teaching, I can see in other people that it's also that for them, a part of it. So when like every Wednesday I teach a class called Urban Bhangra. So it's traditional Bhangra mixed with urban moves.
Okay.
So it brings together two things that this generation loves. Who doesn't love sitting on Instagram and watching loads of dance videos? So yeah, it's that sort of vibe. And what I try to bring to the session, obviously the normal things, which is fun, laughs, technique, you know, they're there to enjoy, but they are there to learn, and they are there to improve and get better. They are there for themselves. So it's really important that when you're teaching is to make sure that they as individuals just knocked the mic. Say I've got 10 people in my class, 3 could be advanced, 2 could be complete beginners, and the others are kind of somewhere in between. And you just kind of have to teach everybody the same, but you can give people the eye when you know they need to put a bit more effort in, when you want to instill a bit of confidence in them, you just give them that nod of like, that was amazing. How beautiful. Yeah, you have to kind of do that to bring them confidence and say it's almost like reassurance in that what they're doing is good for them.
It's good for them.
Yeah, it's good for them.
What I found is basically how true do you feel this is the case when somebody says that when you dance you should dance though no one's looking?
Yeah.
And is that important?
I half agree and half disagree. The reason I'll start with why I disagree. So I disagree because if you can dance, why should everybody not know about it? If you're dancing to perform, that is. So for me, if I'm dancing, I want to perform. I want everybody to see it. Yes. I've worked hard, and I want people to see what I can do. I could only do Bhangra up until about two-ish years ago, mainly. Yeah, and I did a spot of Bollywood and a little bit of street dancing when I was a teenager, but it just was. I never came across the right teacher for me. And then when I came across the people that I work with now, so Nilika, Kush, Sanya, the people that I dance around.
Shout out to everybody here, yeah.
Nilika. So yeah, like they taught me Bollywood and commercial in a very different setting, and I loved it. And I was, this is right for me. That's how I felt. I felt inside me. I was like, yeah, okay. And I wanted to get better. They pushed me to get better, kind of threw me in the deep end at some shows because they saw in me that I could do it.
And you could explode, yes.
Exactly. The same way they see that in me, I've seen that in my students I teach, that they are more capable of things than they think they are. So, yeah, you should perform. Everyone should see how you perform. It's this.
I like that.
It feels good. It feels great when people watch you. But then you do get some people that don't want you to watch them. They just dance for themselves, and they do it. They could do it for fitness. They could do it for their own sort of internal therapy. Like, it's intrinsic. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. They just do it to feel good. It could be an escapism. They've come out of work and they just want to go to a class and just let loose a little bit. Relax. But they don't want to go to the gym and run for 30 minutes. They'd rather come and dance for an hour, and it burns the same calories.
That's a really nice way of seeing it, actually.
Even social. I recently missed it, but the Bollywood Company, we had a summer soiree last week, and all the students and all the professional dancers and the teachers were all in one place, and the troupe performed, so the professional dancers, but also the students. They performed.
The next level of students.
Yeah, so they all performed, and they didn't perform as like an audition to be part of the group as professional performances. They did it just to take part, because they come, they learn, they have fun, and they didn't have to do it. They just did it because it's fun and it's social. So yeah.
Can you believe that we've got down to our last minute?
No,
it's
it's gone really
fast.
quickly.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't it just amazing? If you've been listening, this is Harkiran Virdee, and she is a global phenomenon, which is actually at such a young age. She's kind of performed all across the globe when it comes to dance routines as a teacher, and she's also enlightened individuals with their own inner confidence. She's ignited that within them, and I'm sure we'll have a touch. We'll get much more gritty and close in your journey later as soon as we come after the break. But if you have ever thought that dance itself is something just for performance and or just for what we classify as health purposes, you're going to be pleasantly surprised to see how it integrates with inner confidence and human confidence as well. So keep with us. It's Salaam Radio. It's the Empower Hour with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala. Please do tune back in. We're only going to be gone for 4 minutes. You're going to come straight back, straight here. I'll see you very shortly. Take care.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
It doesn't take much to bring some difference. You give some change, which makes a change. Because nothing gets mileage like a charity. Just a little change turns into a chain. And before we know it, the results are massive. So give a little to make a big difference. For donations, call now. UKIM 0207 387 2157.
दोस्ता कियां परेशान है
जरा कर है ना सारा सौदा मुक्या वा मुल्का विच पैसे भेजने
हूं नहीं मार फूड वाले की फोन खड़का ते फ्री लोकल डिलीवरी कार मंगवा
आलाता उथे का स्पेशल आ
उना की लबाई हाइजीन च ग्रेड 5 चीज़ें चंगियां मियारी ते सस्तियां ते नाले ऑफर ही ऑफर
और क्या
ताजा गोश्त ताजी सब्जियां ते फ्रूट आटा चावल दालां मसाले ते जूस सारे बिल जमा करने गैस ते इलेक्ट्रिक नो टॉप अप भी करने पाकिस्तान पैसे बिल्कुल फ्री भेजने मतलब के एक चिड़ी ने दूध छड़ी ते हर शय लबनी
और जने ने आप उतरा
Amar Food Store and Halal Meat 613B Lincoln Road Peterborough telephone 01733 687374.
My name is Khalid Siddiq.
I'm Saif Adam.
Salaam alaikum, this is Baraka Blue.
Yo, this is your boy Harris J, and make sure you guys stay tuned to Salaam Radio 106.2 FM.
Salaam Radio, in conjunction with the Council of British Hajis, presents a Hajj seminar Sunday the 21st of July from 1 p.m. at the Allama Iqbal Centre, 157 Cromwell Road, PE1 2EL. Multimedia guide presented in English by Sheikh Suleiman Ghani and Abdul Akbar. Learn how to perform Umrah and Hajj. Practical guide. Interactive Q&A. Health and safety advice. Hajj travel shop. To book your tickets, visit cbhuk.org/events or call 0845 833 4145. Hajj Seminar, Sunday the 21st of July from 1 p.m. at the Allama Iqbal Centre, 157 Cromwell Road, PE1 2EL.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Gems and jewels. Wise sayings, interesting events, and moral lessons from Islamic history. The Uthmani ruler and the old woman.
It has been related that an old woman entered the hall of the ruler Suleiman al-Qanuni, complaining to him about his army that stole her livestock while she was sleeping in her house. The ruler said to her reproachfully, "You should have stayed up and taken care of your livestock." She glared at him and quickly responded, "I thought that you were awake, watching over us, my leader, and so I slept with a peaceful mind." The ruler said, "The truth is with you."
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salaam Radio.
Welcome everybody, welcome back to the Salaam Radio and our Empower Hours show with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala, and our amazing guest this evening, Harkiran. And she has come all the way from Kent in specific to come and view and come and be in the studio today here in little old Peterborough. So if anybody around the world is looking, Kent is actually south of England, south of London to be exact as well. Welcome, Kiran.
Thank you for having me.
It's been an amazing conversation so far. You know, we've covered so many different things, from your journey from being in school all the way through to university, and for the support you've had with your family, and how your parents have been an inspiration to yourself, including your uncles and aunts, etc., and specifically how your sisters added a lot of psychological contention in your mindset as well, which is, I think, is beautiful. Now, these things have all helped you in future. Helped you with training and teaching and coaching, from football through to cricket, through to many, many things. You were talking just about before the break. You mentioned something about that you only count in 8s in music, and then in dance, and then you only count in 4 in Bhangra. Would you mind just touching a little bit about that? Because dance, contemporary dance, urban dance, and Bhangra, because you're fusioning this recently, aren't you?
So with music, so we dance to music. Everything in music, pretty much. I don't want to say everything, but if you listen to a song, you'll count it in 8s or 4s.
Mm-hmm.
So when you dance, you're just doing the same thing. So that's with like actual music.
So does that mean something like 8 physical moves?
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And each one could be a different move, for example.
It could be a different move and a sequence, or it could be even 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So even in between.
Okay.
It just depends on the level of the dance, of the dancer that you're teaching, and what you're teaching as well. With Bhangra specifically,
which is the Punjabi folk music,
dance, so Bhangra is it's a celebration of the harvest, so it's basically a happy dance. That's why that's how I teach it. It's a happy dance. You have to be happy if you're doing it.
Smile like your smile.
Exactly.
If anybody's watching, I'm not joking. If you're looking on Facebook Live or YouTube Live today, you've got to look at this young lady's smile. It's just infectious.
Thank you. So with the beats, so counting to 4 or 8. On the dol, so the dol is the drum that you dance to in Bhangra.
The big dol.
Yes, it's got 2 sides. It's got a bass and a treble side, and you hit them with 2 different sticks.
You play it, don't you?
I do play it a little bit. I don't perform it. I've done a couple of performances with the dol when I was really young, but once you learn something like that, you don't forget it. So with the dol, you count basically in 4s and 8s as well, and every move in Bhangra is pretty much done in 4s. So it's a 1. Yeah, I don't want to do a move now. No one can see me really.
Yes,
only on Facebook.
On Facebook they can.
But come to my lesson and I'll teach you. So you count.
Talk
in
about
4s.
a shameless plug.
I know. Count in 4s or count in 8s, basically.
Wonderful.
So,
so I get that now. So there was just recently, I think it was late last year, there was a social viral of a young lady walking down the street with a doll in her hand at a wedding. Wasn't you? Was it when?
No, that wasn't me. I think I know which video you're talking about.
Yeah, you saw it, didn't you?
No, that's not
right.
me.
You see, playing the doll itself is kind of synonymous with the male counterpart, usually. It's really, you're breaking a lot of what we call social frameworks, which I think is just brilliant to see, and so applaudable, and so nice to see. Now, a question to yourself. I mean, we were talking about earlier on about you helping in schools and assisting and igniting children. Now, do you have kind of faced a little bit of racial tension sometimes, even from young children, but without them actually realizing it? I mean, could you just help a little bit on that and share that?
Yeah, so there was one experience I had in a school, and it was in a very English area, so there wasn't there was no
Asians in specific,
no Asian, anyone
background,
of any different culture. It was very English. It was a very small school. And I went into the school. I was teaching a class, and I was explaining. Whenever I teach Bhangra to children, especially if they're new to the dance, I'll teach them exactly what it is. So why are they doing it? Where does it come from? And how are they going to feel by the end of the session, hopefully.
Love it. So pre-framing the end.
Exactly. And just there's no point somebody walking into a lesson and not caring what they're doing and not knowing what they're doing. You want to know. It's like
Absolutely.
Even as children, that children are very curious, and if you teach them something and say, also, I'm going to test you at the end, so make sure you remember that. It makes them. They'll say, oh, okay. It makes it fun. Kids like a challenge.
That's a very lovely way that a parent listening today could actually add into that. So maybe even when you're getting a child to do something, that you're going to test them how they did it. That's really nice. It's a nice flavour. Please do continue.
So, there was just on one occasion I was teaching them, and I said, we're going to do a dance today, and it's from India. And I was carried on explaining, and this young boy put his hand up, and I was like, what do you want to say? Do you have a question? And then he said, my parents don't like Indians.
Wow.
Very punchy, just said it.
As it was.
But
and what sort of age?
About 6 or 7.
6 or 7. I don't think he had a full concept of what he just shared, right? As he said, he just regurgitated the child.
I could see there were no Indians in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And in that area, I taught so many schools, and I knew there's like maybe one Indian in the whole of like that whole. Yeah, there was one Indian family maybe. It was a very there was no Indians basically. And I was gobsmacked, but obviously in that environment you can't really show it. You just have to kind of brush it off and not make it into a thing. I could see the teachers were like, their bodies just tensed up.
Bit of contention.
Yeah, they knew what was just said was not a very nice thing, and I am Indian, so I might take offence to that. But I know better. I know he's a child. I know that's a learned behaviour, and he's heard something from his parents that he's just regurgitated, and he didn't probably mean it. He didn't
even know what the meaning would be, right? So in that context, I mean, because of your understanding of psychology, and to an extent inadvertently from your sister, by all means, Dr.
Harkiran
Virdee, yes, that's right. So of course, but my question was, how did you manage that? Because children are very innocent and very beautiful. They're very peaceful, really, if you think about it. They are a sponge, what you said earlier on in the first half. And how did you manage that?
So he said his bit, I looked at the teachers, and I looked back and I said, okay, in a very polite voice. I didn't react, because if you react and you maybe send them out the room, they will go off the rails,
but they don't know why they've done it either.
Yeah. And I just said, okay, well, that's what your parents might think, but let's have fun today and see if you like the dance. See if you like the Indian dance. You might like it. It doesn't matter what your parents think.
Right now, yes.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
In that context, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
And
so
he
not
loved
stressed.
it.
Yeah. I was going to say, did he end up enjoying that?
He loved it.
So the reality is life that what I can deduce from this basically is that it's not necessarily because of the area makeup. It's probably what we call the integration and influence, or more the understanding. You're right, the understanding of community, because what somebody doesn't know is social conditioning, Norman Chomsky and logic, but in the principle of understanding, it's just to see how nice a job you were doing by actually being there and actually breaking this little boundary in the children's head. This is just a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you made him smile.
Yeah, he loved it. He had a great time. I made sure he was at the front.
That's lovely. So a question, just on a different context, if I may. We were talking a bit about where you've been in your career and the kind of stuff you've done. So you've been involved in movies or choreography within films, in talking Bhangra video films, etc. as well, haven't you? So
with artists.
Yes, with artists.
Yeah, I've done a few with music videos. We've done a few. Am I allowed to say names?
Yeah, of course you can. Well, if they're comfortable, if you're comfortable,
so,
absolutely.
PBN, Punjabi by Nature. So
Punjabi
we've been in a couple of his videos,
yes.
and so it's just.
So I'll look out next time and I'll say, there's
that's me.
Yeah,
oh my God, I can't even think right now. Jaz Dhami. I've done
We've had Jaz Dhami on here as well.
Have you actually?
Yeah, Jagdi as well.
Oh.
Yes, that's right. Santu Singh as well. And last week, as you know, we had Ranbir Singh as well.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yes. So, that's really, I'll have to look back for those. I didn't see those ones.
Yeah, absolutely. So I saw you on stage, I think it was with Raghav.
I wasn't.
Okay, but your team was, right?
My team, that was the dancers were from the Bollywood Company, So
that's wonderful.
That was choreographed by Nilika from the Bollywood Company, and that was Beth and Sammy that were dancing. So
there was a whole team actually, I think.
With Raghav, no.
Maybe it was the other team.
Yeah, we did the opening with us. It was just us that danced. We opened the whole show, and then we danced with. So we had. Sidhu was performing. He's from America.
I do remember. That's when it was.
So I didn't perform, but I choreographed all of that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I brought the dancers in and choreographed that. And one thing that I kind of, with dancers, there's a big culture of competition. So there's like the Bhangra Showdown, Capital Bhangra, there's all of the sort of competition between dancers. And it's great because it cultivates participation, which is amazing. They're learning, and they're learning how to be dancers, they're learning teamwork, they're learning performance and confidence and choreography as well. However, I think sometimes it's good to learn to be a performer, because choreographing something to perform to like an open audience rather than just a competitive audience is different.
That's a wonderful distinction, because there's things like Dance India Dance and all these sort of environments as well. And I find when I watch them sometimes, with no disrespect at all, because I think the work that they put into the contestants is amazing, from the judging all the through to the whole structure and what they're doing for dance as a whole globally. But I sometimes feel disconnected from the actual dance choreography, as though it was just there for the show as opposed to perform. It can be
sometimes quite robotic.
It does feel that sometimes.
Whereas when we dance with artists, you can like bounce off the artists and their energy and each other's energy. And not to say that doesn't happen in a competition, it does. But for me, it doesn't fulfill me. Like it's not for me. I love performing on a stage with artists or performing with my friends and like it being a bit more relaxed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So the question that comes into my mind is that if somebody was thinking about dance and they had a stereotypical view that dancing is not for women, for example, or dancing is not a social exercise or as an energetic exercise. I mean, how have you felt any of this sort of contention in your life as you were driving and you were growing?
So much.
And how have you overcome that? Because this is about the empowerment hour. You know, we empower people to think themselves differently.
Yeah. So I've been a part of a couple of groups prior to the Bollywood Company, and in Bhangra. And Bhangra is a male dance historically. Bhangra is for men.
And Gidda being for women.
And Gidda is for women historically. However, it's 2019 and it's very different now. You see more female Bhangra dancers than you see male sometimes.
Wow.
But a lot of time I did experience girls should do it this way because they shouldn't be lifting their legs or they shouldn't be shouting hoy, like, you know, shouting like the boys do. That's the boys stuff. You shouldn't be doing that. You should stick to the girls stuff, stick to that, make it look girly.
To the clapping and
or make it look girly. And it's like, actually, as a woman doing Bhangra, I'm going to do it how it's supposed to be done.
In the true essence of
Bhangra. And I'm going to do it like a man. I'm going to dance. I know that sounds ridiculous because Bhangra
is a male orientation, yes.
It's a powerful dance, it's a confident dance, but it is also very graceful at the same time. It's not ballet, it's not as graceful as that. However, there is a grace to Bhangra. There is a nakra. What's nakra in English?
Basically, you're talking something, there's a character to it, yes.
Yeah, and, you know, women doing Bhangra, I think there's a lot of amazing female dancers that have come out of, like, the Bhangra scene.
I'm sitting in front of one.
Not just in this country, but like some of my idols that I look at, who are my dance influencers. Like if you look on YouTube, Manpreet Kaur, B-Funk, even I can't even. They're my two main. B-Funk are Chaya and Shivani from LA. Manpreet Kaur, she's from LA as well. They're huge. Have a look at them on YouTube. They are absolutely amazing, but they're women.
Got it.
They're women, and they do Bhangra, and they do Gidda, and they do Bollywood. So there's no reason.
It.
Yeah. I've grown up with my mum. My mum's very feisty. She's very like a woman's woman. My grandma was she was a feminist, and all the women in my family are very much like that.
Oh, bless. Yes.
And I've grown up with my mum always saying to me, whatever the boys can do, you can do it, and you can do it better. She grew up with 4 brothers.
Right, so, and now I can understand where that philosophy comes from. Yes,
exactly. So that's how I've been raised. So that has come through into my dance stuff. That if I have a task in front of me and I think I can't do it, dance related, whether that's choreography or teaching or performing, I'll make sure I'll perfect it and I'll make sure I can do it.
Well done. So that's a brilliant, what we call a relentlessness. It's like I can instead of I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yes?
Mhm.
It was a very amicable way of seeing life. The conversation also leads to understand that basically feminism, most individuals talk about feminism. My own wife, Pavinda, who's actually a devout feminist as well, and she works in the racial contention within sociology. She talks about how the world itself understands feminism in the past, but actually it's the fourth version or the fourth view of feminism, if I've said that. But basically to see that feminism's not actually about men, women, it's about just being able to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just anyone can do what they want. If you want to do something,
if it's within their respect character, within the respectful self-respect, and they basically want to do it, that's the aim. Yes, the game.
Yeah. It's sometimes like being Indian and being a girl, doing certain jobs. Like I did a contract in Marrakesh for 2 months last year, performing Bollywood. Best experience of my life. However, being an Indian girl leaving home for 2 months to live in a country, that it scared my parents, and everyone was like, "Wow, you're so brave for doing that." But I wanted to do it, so I settled my parents' fears, and I said, this is what it's going to be like. You can come and visit. They couldn't. They didn't have. They work as well. Yeah, they work. They work also. But I checked it out. I made sure it was good, and I went.
Make sure it's safe.
Yeah, make sure it's safe. It was very safe, and it was the best experience of my life. It was like amazing.
So you had a good order of team, etc. around you. But so how did you overcome your inner fear yourself? Because I'm sure you would have a bit of anxiety over the fact that it may well be. Is it what I was expecting it to be?
I remember the flight on the way there, and I was trembling. I was so scared. I was walking into a contract with dancers who had been trained in ballet, tap, jazz, everything, you name it.
Oh my goodness.
From very small ages up to now we're all the same age. And I'd never met them. None of them were Indian. So I didn't have that sort of like
connection
relation. Yeah. So when I got there, I was scared. I was really fearful, and I didn't know what to expect. But then,
would you be accepted, or would you be rejected as a
were
group?
People going to be nice?
Yeah.
Were they going to be nice? And you do experience some sort of like, what's the word? Like
friction.
Not friction. Like it's a bit awkward at the beginning when you don't know people. Sometimes
lack of rapport, really.
Yeah. People, if they don't know you and you don't know them, there can be that. But it's up to you to overcome it.
Break the ice.
Yeah. So once you start hanging out and they get to know you, then there's no tension, and it's fine.
Right, well, good then. In that case, ask me a question. I mean, it brings a question to my mind. Where do you find a particular sequence of what technique do you find is the best way to sort of break that contention, that fear within their minds as well of who you are, what you are? How have you overcome that before?
I ask questions.
That's a brilliant way.
Yeah, I always ask questions. I genuinely want to get to know that person, and I think let them open up, and then they'll maybe feel more comfortable to talk. So yeah, just ask, what's your name, where are you from, just a general chit chat, and
you share obviously from yourself.
Yeah, and then the conversation flows. Eye contact makes a massive difference, and your body language and how you actually, like, if I was miserable, if my face was miserable, I don't think anyone would want to speak to me. But like, if you're smiling and you're happy, then people will be more drawn to you automatically.
I love this. Yeah. So for the young generation, while you're listening, and if anybody's getting involved, please do a quick shout out to Adi. I think he's saying hello, and Jav K as well, and a number of other individuals. Hang on a second, let me see. Sudhaf Rahman. I'm sure if you'd like to be on the show, please do keep in touch. That's basically on Facebook Live as we're talking, and we'll have a look and see if there's anything coming through on WhatsApp later. But just to touch base with yourself, if I had a stereotype within the dance arena, the creative arena of oneself, does it actually genuinely cross over? You touched on it earlier on, where it can burn the similar amounts of calories of whether you're doing cardio on a bike or whether you're dancing. So a little understanding, I know you teach spin as well and many other things within your current job as well. You currently work within
part-time manager at a gym called Snap Fitness in Ebbsfleet.
Quick hi to Snap Fitness.
Hi,
There we
Snap
are.
Fitness.
Yeah. And so my question is that do you find that actually there would be a reluctancy to see that dance itself can be an equal exercise within keeping fit?
When I used to work at Snap Fitness in Belvedere, so it's a different gym before this one.
Is this all Belvedere being south?
South is still in Kent.
Still in Kent.
Still in
right,
Kent. Yeah. It's closer to London, but it's still in Kent. But
cool name though.
Belvedere.
What a cool name.
Yeah. And my class used to be packed.
Wow.
My Bhangra class was packed. Bhangra Fitness, and it was not just Indians that used to come, and it was mixture. Like I had a Chinese lady, I had an English lady, I had a Polish lady, men, like everything. Everyone used to come. I used to get overbooked. People used to come to the door and I have to send them away. So there is a benefit in it, not just the fact that it's fitness. You will sweat, you will be burning calories. I can't tell you exactly how many, it depends how hard you work.
Absolutely, I understand that, yes.
Everybody's individual, so some people find it harder to burn than others, and how fit they already are or how unfit they might be. But it's fun and it doesn't feel like work. So for people to come to that class, they're enjoying themselves and unknowingly burning calories.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I've been to an event. I've been to some classes which you've seen, maybe on a chat show or something, where the individuals are going through like a monotonous view of the moves, whatever it is. They're not really heart and souling in there. So you do something special. I'm sure if your rooms are full, what is it specifically about Harkiran Virdee that actually is something special that brings people forward? I mean, and it's a bit odd you saying it from your own self, but from my side of things, I think you really make people smile. So, how is it that you instill that confidence of self-awareness and care?
Every week's different, so it's always different songs, different moves, and just having fun with them. So like getting them to split into groups and perform if they feel comfortable, but not forcing them to do it. It's just creating an environment where people are comfortable to be themselves and more. So like some people don't dance to perform or dance for any other reason than they just enjoy it, and they do it maybe to escape, like I said earlier, escapism from work or family stress and things, or just for exercise and fun.
Just something for themselves, maybe.
It's just for themselves. And it's important when they come into that class, no judgment zone, enjoyment zone. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Don't compare yourself. Everyone's at a different level. Everyone, you can't compare people's dance journey with the next person.
And people might think about how they're looking. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, like body conscious. Yeah, you do get some of that, but...
And how do you settle that?
It's not there. You just... if someone speaks to me about it, fine. Then I'll have a conversation and I'll kind of let them know that it doesn't matter. Everybody starts somewhere. However, if somebody comes in, I will never point it out. You never say anything about somebody's body or...
But if they're self-conscious, is what I'm trying to say, how do you help them get over that?
Just give them confidence. I always give nods. Like I'm always like, yes, that was really good, or just keep them going. Sometimes, social media now, everybody has social media. They post things, or they might message you, or you message them. Having a student come to the class and actually addressing them and saying, messaging out of class and out of hours, thank you so much for coming, and keep coming. Because you're amazing and you're going to do well. Giving them those words is something for them to hold on to.
And I assume, obviously, you're being very honest and open with them as well, because obviously you're not just going to say that for the sake of it. You're going to say it because you mean it, right?
And even we have like some people that have been coming to the classes for like a very long time, and they keep coming back. And then you have those ones that come every now and again, and they're like, oh, I wish I could come more. And all you have to say is, you're always welcome. The doors are always open. You can always come to this class. It's always here for you.
It's beautiful to hear that there's a no judgment zone. It's just like one of those, just come in and just be fun with yourself. So we've ascertained the fact that dance itself is something that's very, very powerful to add the inner confidence to a human being. Also has the massive benefits of fitness as well. But in your career, you've changed people's worlds considerably by being the performer, by helping them to perform, whether they're a child thinking they can dance or whether they are actually dancing and being less self-conscious. So the question I'm going to bring to your mind is that You know, Harkiran, you've got a very young, vibrant energy about yourself, and you are young. When it's a bit of an odd question, but it's something that we ask quite regularly here on the Empower Hour. What if I was to say that there was a legacy that you would leave? Oh my goodness, you have 1 minute left. What would your legacy be, Harkiran? What would you like to be remembered for?
So I believe, and I only think I realised this very recently, is that I'm put on this planet to make people smile. And I might still be figuring out exactly how I'm going to do that, but I'm hoping I'm already doing it in a way.
Well, with respect, I mean, today has been an absolutely electrically quick interview, and your smile is very contagious, and I think the best way to make people smile is to smile at them, but not just smile from the outside, but smile from the inside.
Definitely.
It's been an absolute humbling pleasure to have you here, Harkiran.
Thank you for having
and
me.
I hope you're welcome, and I hope you've really thoroughly enjoyed it. So for all of our regular listeners on the Empower Hour with myself, Sukhi Wahiwala, thank you very much for being live with us today. If you've missed any part of this, please do find us on YouTube or Facebook on Salaam Radio. Take care, good night.